Please start.
Good morning. I welcome on behalf of Board of Studies, RTM Nagpur University, to one and all on this online teaching session for Semester 2 BA Compulsory English under the umbrella of English Department RTM Nagpur University in collaboration with 6 colleges, Rajkumar Keval Ramani Mahila Mahavidyalay, Vasantrao Nayak Government Institute of Arts and Social Sciences Nagpur, Mahila Mahavidyalay, R.S. Mundle, Dharampet Arts and Commerce College Nagpur, J.M. Patel Arts, Commerce and Science College Bhandara, and Manohar Rao Kamri College Nagpur. Today being the 6th consecutive day of online teaching, dear students, it gives me pleasure that we have among us this morning Dr. Somnath Barure, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English, Vasantrao Nayak Government Institute of Arts and Social Sciences, Nagpur, as our resource person today. He is MA in English Literature from Pune University. He has done his B.Ed, SET, and PhD from Mumbai University. To his credit, he has published 7 research papers in international, 13 research papers in national, and 2 in state level conferences and seminars. Apart from this, he had 29 articles published in journals and books. Under his achievements, he has published 2 books of his, namely Re-Exploring Indian Drama in English, and the second one is Reflection on Mahesh Dattani. Apart from this, he has also translated Marathi book Mazi Kathe Mundarichi Shara, written by J.N. Munghate in English. He is a recognized guide for English in RTM Nagpur University since 2018. In addition to this, he is also an associate NCC officer, worked as an NSS PO at JES College, Jalna. He has delivered multiple English talks on different topics through Akashwani, Nagpur. His area of interest in is English literature, and he likes to read and write in literature apart from translating Marathi into English and English into Marathi. I welcome you, sir, for this session and request you to proceed with Unit 2 under personalities, Sundar Pichai, a very well-known personality of India. In fact, like we may call him as a Google man. So over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. At the outset, let me welcome all the students, and let me thank as well the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be one with you all, dear students. Now, before I begin with the topic as proper, I would like to flash light on certain things that we have in our day-to-day life. Friends, for students, for human beings overall, we need a sort of motivation. We need somebody to be there, always, so as to look at and imbibe certain, positive vibes. Sometimes read about them, read their, success stories, and by reading them, we get a sort of impetus. Sometimes we follow them, we consider them our ideals, and its effect is, very much long-lasting in the life of individuals. Now, we have different times and different types of leaderships. If we go by the history, we have very different leaders, not even dressed in a systematic manner, but they were equally influential, or sometimes more influential than leaders that we have till now. I'm talking about the legendary leadership of Mahatma Gandhi that we have had during the Indian War of Independence. If you just look at the picture of Gandhi, in no way he appears to be a leader. But then the parameters of leadership, the various features that needed then to lead the very less educated, full of faith population of And that was the time when India was struggling against the monopoly, struggling against the very, very different rule of Britishers for a longer time. So Gandhi was there to set a model before the population of India, and that worked, like anything. Even a very popular scientist like Einstein says that the generations perhaps in future won't believe that there existed a man like Gandhi who even was not, having clothes to cover his body. So we have such leadership. When with change in time, leaderships, they too changed. Now in our time, we have different leaders besides the political leaders that we have throughout. Now the world has been known in a very different manner. No, it is the time of globalization. It is the time of multinational companies. It is the time of career, and there is no bound. You're staying in Nagpur. That does not mean that your life is only restricted to the physical boundaries of Nagpur. No, you are a global citizen now. No, you do follow, you do act, and you do believe in the global situation that we have, the global scenario that we have. Likewise, leadership also has become global, isn't it? Here are some results from the web. If you just a minute. Coming back to the leaders that we have nowadays, they are most of them, the business entrepreneurs. They are the Bollywood figures, Hollywood figures, is it? Means they are leaders in their own field. But as a part of our academic syllabus, we are going to deal with certain successful people. And in BA second year, semester 2, unit 2 deals with personalities. Yesterday, we have seen about Ratan Tata as one such, legendary leader, legendary businessman, one who has changed the way of doing business for last more than 30, 40 years. Today, we are going to see one more personality, one more leader in the name Sundar Pichai. You might have heard his name. If not his name, at least all of you for sure, you are acquainted with, you are known to Sundar Pichai through his contribution in the form of electronic technology that we are using nowadays. Let me present my PPT. Yes. So this is the picture of Sundar Pichai, which resembles to his name Sundar. He is really Sundar, very attractive young man, and besides being a grown up now, he is a 1972 born, but still he has maintained himself so as to be appropriate with his name. So Sundar Pichai, the original name is Sundar Rajan Pichai, who is an Indian-born American executive, Chief Executive Officer of both Google Incorporated 2015 and its holding company Alphabet Incorporated 2019. Now, the technical terms used from the world of business and from the world of technology, they may appear a bit difficult, but students, you need not get worried about. In the end, I have made it a part of my presentation that we will be talking about the new terms, business as well as economic as well as the technological. So Sundar Rajan Pichai was born on 12th of July 1972 in Chennai, Tamil Nadu state of India. Pichai happened to be an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur for his BTech in metallurgical engineering in the year 1993 with a silver medal and a scholarship to study at Stanford University. He did his Master of Science from Stanford University in Engineering and Material Science, and that he could have in 1995. He remained in the United States thereafter, working on applied materials, his favorite subject. Meantime, he also earned an MBA degree from Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, where he proved to be a Cybele scholar and Palmer scholar. Now, what the Cybele scholar and Palmer scholar, they have a tradition of selecting 29 best students from some countries they have decided. So Sundar Pichai proved to be one such appropriate candidate, and he could have that pride possession of his during his uh, MBA degree. Now, when we are looking at Sundar Pichai as a man, as an executive, we have to look at his profile. Pichai began his career in a company dealing with semiconductor devices called Applied Materials Incorporated, and then as a management consultant for McKinsey and Company. He joined Google in 2004 as the head of product management and development. He initially worked on the Google Toolbar, which enabled those using the Microsoft Internet Explorer and Mozilla Firefox web browsers to easily access the Google search engine. Over the next few years, he was directly involved in the development of Google's own browser, Chrome, which was released to the public in 2008. That same year, Pichai was named Vice President of Product Development, and he began to take a more active public role. By 2012, he was a senior vice president, and 2 years later, for both Google and the Android smartphone operating system. In 2011, Pichai reportedly was aggressively pursued for employment by microblogging service Twitter. And in 2014, he was touted as a possible CEO for Microsoft. But in both instances, he was granted large financial packages to remain with Google. He also was known to have helped negotiate Google's $3.2 billion deal to acquire Nest Labs in 2014. Therefore, when Google co-founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin announced the creation of Alphabet Incorporated in August 2015, it came as a surprise to industry insiders that Pichai was named CEO of Google, which was recognized as a subsidiary. In December 2019, he also was named CEO of Alphabet, replacing Page. That is his success. Now, friends, when I was going through his profile as an executive, I was trying to just set the ground that how an ordinary person, one who was born in a middle class family in Chennai and had his schooling through Navodaya Vidyalaya, just because of the awareness that his parents had. His father was an engineer in some British multinational company, but he was not that rich a man. Later on, we are going to talk about what sort of memories Sundar Pichai has about his family, about his family's whereabouts, their economic condition, the kind of enthusiasm and enjoyment he could have when the first television was purchased in that family, and even to have the luxury of using a phone. He says he had to wait till he joined some company. Nowadays, all of us, we should be thankful to our time and the technology that is made available by the multinational companies, by the government, and many other service providers, that we have all of these just at uh, 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 just very close to us. Even for that, we need not struggle. Like all of you are using your Android phones. Now today we are going to know that same thing by the provider, isn't it? Sundar Pichai is the name behind the services. Now I'm using Google Meet application, so as to have a dialogue with you. Even Google Meet is a gift given by the MNC Google, and the man behind is Sundar Pichai. Now, all of us, we are talking about Sundar Pichai very late, but the reality is a few of them who came in contact with Sundar Pichai first, at home, his father, who could recognize the talent in this boy very early. His father, once Sundar Pichai had said, he could have that in the ability, to remember the phone numbers in case of his son Sundar, and then he, made it very sure that his children, including Sundar, they will have a very good education. And soon after his schooling, he joined IIT Kharagpur. Now, there is one more instance I would like to bring it to your notice, that how the teachers, they too have a very important role to play, as and when some very bright student comes in contact with them. One such instance we have from Sundar Pichai's teacher. One of Sundar Pichai's former teachers at IIT Kharagpur says about him, he was doing work in the field of electronics at a time when no separate course on electronics existed in our curriculum. His thesis dealt with implanting molecules of other elements in silicon wafers to alter its properties. It was very clear from the beginning that he was very enthusiastic about electronics and materials. Friends, one thing we need to take in our mind, we are talking about a boy, one who is a student at IIT Kharagpur. And as you know, to all these engineering students, they have to submit a sort of research work of their own, a project. You may have the memories from a very popular Bollywood movie, Three Idiots. You might have seen there is a character in Three Idiots who is working on an unsuccessful project, and he could never make it happen, isn't it? What is his name? I forgot his name, but he was working on the drone, wherein cameras are implanted on it, and he could never make it happen. So while working on one such project in the life of Sundar Pichai, his teacher says that he was doing work in the field of electronics at a time when no separate course on electronic existed in our curriculum. We are talking of the 90s in India, when nothing in the name mobile phone, nothing in the name perhaps internet the way it is available for us now. It did not exist that way. But this boy was working on electronics when the discipline, the way it exists now, did not exist. His thesis dealt with implanting molecules of other elements in silicon wafers to alter its properties. It was very clear from that beginning that he was very enthusiastic about electronics and materials. Meaning by that, something that we have to witness in our time, in the name Sundar Pichai, a magician in the world of electronic and communication technology. It was been recognized by his teacher very early. Then let us come to the contribution of Sundar Pichai in technology or you can say internet related technology, or the way he works in Google. Now, to begin from 2011, he became a senior vice president of Google Chrome and apps, and was largely responsible for products including the Chrome browser and operating system, Gmail, Calendar, and Docs, that is documents, and Google Drive. Now, why I'm giving this technical information is perhaps you may appear for examination, and possibilities there that you may have objective kind of questions. So maybe you will have questions based on this information, because though we are talking about Sundar Pichai, when it comes to his contribution, why he has attained a name, because of his contributions, and his contributions are through these applications. So you need to remember this. In 2015, he was appointed CEO of Google Incorporated. Now earlier he was the senior vice president of Google Chrome. It's just one such project and other applications. But now in 2015, going ahead, he has reached the height, and wherein he has been appointed as chief executive officer of Google Incorporated. With its latest product, Google Assistant, it is clear that Google has now actively embraced artificial intelligence, AI technology, and Sundar Pichai has been leading this from the front. Now, herein we need to just look back where we have reached using this technology in the last more than 10 or more than 15, 20 years. If you remember, I have my memories very much intact. I joined these services in 2006, and I completed my masters from Pune University in 2004. When I have memories of my PG, I could remember that just one or two friends of mine, they had mobile phones, and you won't believe, then having a phone was very much difficult. It was costly, and more than that, using it was costlier. I had a friend. He had one mobile phone, and then we had to pay for even incoming calls. Sometimes outgoing calls were a bit cheaper, but incoming calls were very much costly. And then mobile phone was not like the mobile phones that we have, Android phones we have nowadays. Everybody is having Android phone. Now we are talking about the work that has been put from behind the curtain by these people. Now these companies, especially Google and Sundar Pichai as its leader, they are after artificial intelligence. When I was preparing for this lecture, I was just watching through the videos available on internet, and in one such video, I was listening to Pichai. He was, I think, speaking on the World Forum for Economics, wherein he was relating it to the n number of very influential areas that we have in our society, like artificial intelligence. He was saying that could be of help in the coming days for even doctors. Nowadays, if suppose somebody is suffering from some illness like cancer, and some expert advice is to be sought, the family of the person needs expert advice. Now you have to contact a couple of doctors. The same sample will be sent to them. The research will be done, and it needs much more time. And unfortunately, the one who is suffering, wishes that he should have the decision fast. Sundar Pichai in his video was telling, once artificial intelligence is been introduced in the medical science, which is already done, but to that level, if it is done, he says that having such results, having the opinion of multiple people becomes very easy, and ultimately the treatment of such patients in medical science would be quick faster than that we have nowadays. This is just an example. Why is it that the Google Assistant, the things are likely to change in the days to come? And it is very clear that Google has now actively embraced artificial intelligence. With Google Assistant nowadays, what functions we are doing using our phone, that is known to us. Artificial intelligence technology and Sundar Pichai has they have become synonymous nowadays, and he is leading Google in this particular project. Pichai says artificial intelligence is one of the most important things that humanity is working on. According to this leader, he says artificial intelligence is one of the very important things that humanity is working on. It's more profound than electricity or fire. It may appear a bit odd. It may appear a bit more different, but still that is likely to happen in the days to come. Now we have got to know who Sundar Pichai is, where he had his education, what work he has been doing in the multinational companies like Google and Alphabet, and his profile we have gone through. Now, why do we read about Pichai, or why do we read about such very extraordinary people? Because we are always eyeing on some sort of situation wherein we learn something, we have sort of take off from such leaders. Now, when I was just searching for Sundar Pichai, his videos, his photographs, and other information, one thing is very much common, and that is his simplicity and dedication towards work that I could read through the n number of sources that we have on internet. Means he's very simple, in physical appearance as well as when he speaks on some topic. Very simple man he is, and he's dedicated towards his work. Dedication is very important to be successful in any work that we do. Now, most young entrepreneurs look up to Pichai for his resilience. See, certain things that we have in our personality, they form the basis, and they help us in one way or the other to lead and to reach that highest peak of success. So flexibility in the personality of Sundar Pichai is one of the reasons behind such huge success that he could achieve. Now, he's very polite by nature. We don't have Sundar Pichai in some other face. Sundar Pichai, if you just search on internet, you will get some speech of his delivered related to his work. We get something related to his work, nothing beyond that, is it? So his polite nature and his ability to stay away from the office politics and drama, which helped him to focus on his career growth and build an influential persona. So I would like to remind you, while reading about Sundar Pichai, we should focus on such things. Like, you need to be polite, and you need to be focused on something that has been assigned to you. Nothing doing the politics and drama we see in our offices. He always speaks of his humble background and shy nature, exhibiting the rare quality in him of being an honest man. Yesterday, I was listening to Shekhar sir when he was talking about Ratan Tata. Normally, normal people, ordinary people, they have a sort of mindset that they take it for granted that the successful people, they don't have problems. But that is not, the thing. That is not reality. Whether it is Ratan Tata, whether it is, some political, very successful leader, or some, Bollywood figure like Amir Khan, or, executive, global executive like Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, is it? They too have problems because they too are human beings first. But, how they tackle with, such situations, the skills that they have, or they have learned, something, so as to tackle such difficult situations. They make, them different. Even if I quote a very popular writer in our time, is it You Can Win, Shiv Khera. He too says in his book, successful people never do different things, but they do things differently. Is it? Successful people are also like, you and me. They too are, human beings like you and me, born, brought up, and doing very ordinary things. But they do things in a very different manner, isn't it? So, Sundar Pichai speaks of his humble background, that is his honesty. He did never say that he comes from a very, rich family, isn't it? Rather, he keeps talking about his own experience when he was to travel from India to US. He says his father had to spend almost a year's salary so as to travel from India to US. Now, this is, just an example. It may sound very ordinary, but see, a man, one who earns, or one whose salary per annum is more than 1700 crore, isn't it? Let me repeat it in Indian currency. It is 1700 crore, Sundar Pichai's salary. But still, he hasn't forgotten that particular incidents from his life, from the history, when he was traveling from India to US for educational purposes. He was, to do Master of Science from Stanford. He remembers his father had spent almost a years of his, his salary. So he's speaking about his humble background and shy nature exhibits the rare quality in him of being an honest man. So throughout, we see honesty in his personality. He emphasizes on sincere efforts through his speeches and innovative thinking. According to him, it should be the natural way of thinking. Keep on thinking what should be the next best action. Now, this is not new, but certain good things we see recurring, reappearing in certain good incidences, and even among good people. So Sundar Pichai also says sincerity is the must kind of thing to be successful in any field of life. Again, to be successful, you need to be full of innovative ideas. For that, you need to think in innovative manner. And innovative does not mean changing from what you are. According to him, how that innovative thinking should be, it should be natural, one thing, isn't it? Away from perhaps the chaos that we have when it comes to thinking and doing a sort of introspection. He suggests his fellow entrepreneurs to think big about big problems and think of a more ambitious way to tackle these problems. Now, a few of you may be working in some way or the other, but most of us, we are not entrepreneurs. But we are reading this, grown-up entrepreneur as a successful, businessman, business tycoon, a leader in some business enterprise. So his suggestion is, very important, very serious to be taken. He says that you need to think big about big problems and think of a more ambitious way to tackle these problems. You need not be worried about. Further, he says, never stop trying and be diplomatic, isn't it? One has to be diplomatic in one's own way. And one very important thing, again, I came across when I was searching for information about him. In one of his videos, I just listened to him, where he said, start local and go global, isn't it? Local to global, we have already reached. But when it comes to, doing business, isn't it? You have to, start somewhere as a local. And very soon, using, this technology, he was saying that even we have understood, we have experienced in the last more than 1 year, almost today is 25th, means last year on 23rd of March, lockdown was, been declared. Here we have seen that the companies or the businesses based on this new technology, they had very little or no difficulty to function with their abilities. Of course, in the first few days, few weeks, they struggled, but they could make it happen. But the traditional kind of human beings were playing a major role. But computers and computer related technology and such business firms, they are doing very well. Pichai was making it at a point that even in the Asian countries, even now, more than 40% people, they don't have their bank accounts. Now this data we have nothing to do with. As a business executive, it may be of very much help to him. At the same time, he's a man of technology, and he's a man of management as well. That is why he has completed this journey of being an employee in 2004, and now he's leading it as its very chief personality, and such a global giant in the name Alphabet and Google Incorporated. So he tells that many more people are yet to use this technology. Now, while talking about these many features of his personality traits, one single formula, or the Pichai formula of success I have named, or the Pichai mantra of success, I could make it out. That leaders, as a rule, should not be focusing on their own growth or success, but also pay attention to their employees' success. Very, very important thing. He explains, as a leader, a lot of your job is to make those people successful. It's less about trying to be successful yourself, and is to remove that barrier, remove roadblocks for them so that they can be successful in what they do. So that's how I have always thought about it. Now, see, all of us, we are struggling in our own ways so as to be successful. And being ordinary person, including me, all of us, we are ordinary people. So we have that, eagerness. We try to, have everything that comes to us first, to ourselves and then to, others. But leaders, they have, very different quality. Especially, the original, genuine leaders, Sundar Pichai says, they need to have this quality. What is it? As a leader, a lot of your job is to make the people successful. It's less about trying to be successful yourself and more about making sure you have good people, and your work is to remove that barrier, remove roadblocks for them so that they can be successful in what they do. So that's how I have always thought about it. And he further adds by saying, when something excites you, but there are hard decisions to make, then take the leap if you really think that you are right. Taking risks is worth, and even if you fail, never stop trying. Numerous things that amaze the world have been made after umpteen attempts. He believes that there is nothing wrong in worrying or feeling insecure. Is it? When you try to do something new, when you are in a new atmosphere, in a new workplace, such insecurity is quite a bit evident. But he says feeling insecure implies that you are simply working with talented people, and it is now your opportunity to learn from them and grow. No, such very flexible nature, such very genuine kind of feeling that we see through his personality. Use your creativity to try doing now things while learning them, and become a master with constant uh, success. Yeah. Now, when we have this much of information about Sundar Pichai, his role played, his contributions made, and the success that we have, the kind of fame that he has nowadays. Now, while reading this very brief topic, introduction, we came across many more new words. In the book that is prescribed, there are a few words given, uh, so as to be made available to the students. But I thought there are certain technological terms. They too are there, in the form of vocabulary. So I thought we should discuss what these terms are, isn't it? So when we have information about the personality of Sundar Pichai, his contribution in the form of these new terms that we have in our day-to-day life should also be known to the students. Now there is one Google INC. I said Google Incorporated is an abbreviation of incorporated, suggesting the company's business structure is a legal corporation, isn't it? This is technical. As earlier it was Google, and then it became Alphabet, and both of them, they do exist, isn't it? So INC is an abbreviation, short form of incorporated, suggesting the company's business structure is legal corporation. One another technical term I could found, that is fine, apps. Now apps is very much common. Everybody uses apps. Apps means applications spatially as downloaded by a user to a mobile device. Like we are using Google Meet, which is an application. Then there is iGoogle. I is spelled small, and Google normally with a G capital. iGoogle portal is your personalized start page. Add news, weather, games, social media, favorite website, and stuff from across the web. This is your portal, personalized start page. There is one Google Toolbar. It is an application that can be installed on Internet Explorer to search Google from any web page, fill out web forms, translate web pages, and more. To use this application, you need a device with Windows XP, Vista, and Windows 7 Plus. Then there is one desktop search. This is a term. Desktop search tools search within a user's own computer files as opposed to searching the internet. These tools are designed to find information on the user's personal computer, including web browser, history, email, etc. There is one more term that I came across, gadgets, isn't it? As we are using, these gadgets, they are devices, tools, appliances, or implement, etc. Google Pack is another term that has been used. Google Pack was a collection of software tools offered by Google to download in a single archive. It was announced at the 2006 Consumer Electronics Show on January 6. It was available for Windows XP, Windows Vista, and Windows 7. Then Google Gears, an open source web browser extension that is used by developers to create a rich platform for web applications. Last one or two, Google Assistant. We did talk about this one while talking about the profile of Sundar Pichai. Google Assistant is an artificial intelligence powered virtual assistant developed by Google that is primarily available on mobile and smart home devices. Unlike the company's previous virtual assistant, Google Now, the Google Assistant can engage in two-way conversation. This may appear a bit difficult for you people, but trust me, all of you are using these applications. I'm just trying to relate it to in the form of Sundar Pichai's contribution to the entire world. Artificial intelligence in abbreviated form, again, AI, it refers to simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think like humans and mimic their actions, pervasiveness, commonness, and occurrence. Pervasiveness is, one another term, the meaning of which is, commonness. Uh, I did not even touch upon, one particular aspect that we read in this, personalities introduction. That is about, the kind of scares or, worry that we have regarding, the data that is stolen from, the social networking sites. Is it? Uh, Actually, we don't have that much of time. Otherwise, I would have loved to make you people listen to Sundar Pichai in Global Economic Forum. What do you think about the vulnerability or the kind of worry that people they have regarding their own personal data, isn't it? He answers in a very systematic manner, isn't it? That we need to be very careful, and while talking about any such risk to the young ones, he says his son, he's not been given a mobile phone, 8, isn't it? Means, see, such a rich man having money, having things at doorstep. He says he has personally kept his own child away from phone. But now in the society we see that even very ordinary people without any care, they hand over their own mobile phones to the very small infants, sometimes 6 months, 1 year old, and kids are playing games on mobile phones. So it is very necessary that we should be aware about the cyber frauds or frauds done using the internet. At the same time, we should also be careful about uh, handing over the gadgets to small ones. Pichai makes it a point in one of his speeches. Uh, uh, One of his videos available, that too, in the 5th May 2020, during the pandemic and lockdown, is very touchy, wherein he says, "You will prevail." Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google and Alphabet, delivers a message of hope to graduates in the class of 2020, isn't it? He is talking about the class of 2020 graduates, those who are going to be graduated in 2020. That happened. The way you people are attempting your examinations, isn't it? Appearing in examinations. Did you imagine it, this kind of examination earlier? No. Even teachers, they had no idea. The university had no idea, and students, no idea that they will have to appear for examinations in this way, in Google form. But the world order entirely changed in a very short time, at the behest of this pandemic, COVID-19. So he speaks about the graduates in class of 2020. It first appeared in Dear Class of 2020, a virtual commencement celebration bringing together inspirational leaders and artists to celebrate graduates, their families, and their communities. Watch the full stream video very soon. Yes.
Hello, everyone, and congratulations to the class of 2020, as well as your parents, your teachers, and everyone who helped you get to this day. I never imagined I'd be giving a commencement speech with no live audience from my backyard, but it's giving me a much deeper understanding for what our YouTube creators go through. And I certainly never thought I'd be sharing a virtual stage with a former president, a first lady, a Lady Gaga, and a Queen Bee, not to mention BTS. I don't think this is the graduation ceremony, not to mention BTS, which is celebrating all the knowledge you've gained. You may be grieving what you've lost, the moves you planned, the jobs you earned, and the experiences you were looking forward to. In bleak moments like these, it can be difficult to find hope. So let me skip right to the end and tell you what happens. You will prevail. That's not really the end of the speech, so don't get too excited. The reason I know you'll prevail is because so many others have done it before you. 100 years ago, the class of 1920 graduated into the end of a deadly pandemic. 50 years ago, the class of 1970 graduated in the midst of Vietnam War. And nearly 20 years ago, the class of 2001 graduated just months before 9/11. There are notable examples like this. They had to overcome new challenges, and in all cases, they prevailed. The long arc of history tells us we have every reason to be hopeful. So, be hopeful. There is an interesting trend I've noticed. It's very conventional for every generation to underestimate the potential of the following one. It's because they don't realize that the progress of one generation becomes the foundational premise for the next. And it takes a new set of people to come along and realize all the possibilities. I grew up without much access to technology. We didn't get our first telephone till I was 10. I didn't have regular access to a computer until I came to America for graduate school. Under television, when we finally got one, only had one channel. So imagine how awestruck I am today to be speaking to you on a platform that has millions of channels. By contrast, you grew up with computers of all shapes and sizes. The ability to ask a computer anything, anywhere, the very thing I've spent my last decade working on, is not amazing to you. That's okay. It doesn't make me feel bad. It makes me hopeful. There are probably things about technology that frustrate you and make you impatient. Don't lose that impatience. It'll create the next technology revolution and enable you to build things my generation could never dream of. You may be just as frustrated by my generation's approach to climate change or education. Be impatient. It'll create the progress the world needs. You will make the world better in your own way, even if you don't know exactly how. The important thing is to be open-minded so that you can find what you love. For me, it was technology. The more access my family had to technology, the better our lives got. So when I graduated, I knew I wanted to do something to bring technology to as many others as possible. At the time, I thought I could achieve this by building better semiconductors. I mean, what could be more exciting than that? My father spent the equivalent of a year's salary on my plane ticket to the US so I could attend Stanford. It was my first time ever on a plane. But when I eventually landed in California, things were as I had imagined. America was expensive. A phone call back home was more than $2 a minute. And a backpack cost the same as my dad's monthly salary in India. And for all the talk about the warm California beaches, that water was freezing cold. On top of all that, I missed my family, my friends, and my girlfriend, now my wife, back in India. A bright spot for me during this time was computing. For the first time in my life, I could use a computer whenever I wanted to. Completely blew my mind. And at that same moment, to so many others. I certainly wouldn't be standing here speaking to you as Google CEO. Believe me when I say I saw none of this coming when I first touched down in the state of California 27 years ago. The only thing that got me from there to here, other than luck, was a deep passion for technology and an open mind. So take the time to find the thing that excites you more than anything else in the world. Not the thing your parents want you to do, or the thing that all your friends are doing, or that society expects of you. I know you're getting a lot of advice today, so let me leave you with mine. Be open, be impatient, be hopeful. If you can do that, history will remember the class of 2020, not for what you lost, but for what you changed. You have the chance to change everything. I'm optimistic you will. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So that was Sundar Pichai, the personality that we are supposed to. Just a minute. Yeah. So that was Sundar Pichai, very optimistic, very committed, and what as a student you need to focus at, guiding you in his own way. Yeah. Last one or two slides, I would like to pay attention to the yes, because very soon you people will be facing the examination. So I have attempted to set a few questions. They are MCQs, multiple choice questions, for a quick check whether you people followed me or not. Question 1. Where did Sundar Pichai do his BTech from? And the options are IIT Kanpur, IIT Bombay, IIT Kharagpur, and IIT Chennai. As two-way dialogue may take longer, I will help you to give the right answer. IIT Kharagpur. Sundar Pichai went to Stanford for his doctoral program, MTech, MS, that is Master of Science, or MBA. I know, during my speech, I did mention this, that Sundar Pichai attended, even in his video, you might have listened to, that he did his MS from Stanford University. Third question is about Sundar Pichai also earned an MBA from which of the following business schools? Of course, the first one, Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, where he did his MBA from. Next and fourth question is IIT Kharagpur is situated in which of the following Indian states? Again, I need not tell you people, you being very bright, you know that IIT Kharagpur is situated in West Bengal. Last few questions. The word Google is a misspelling. Now, this is a bit deeper, actually. Those who are very keen and interested to know more about Google, more about Sundar Pichai and his organization, they may go to this question. The word Google is a misspelling of which word, or misspelling of what? The right answer is Gogol, isn't it? Google is a misspelling of Gogol. When they were to name the organization as Google, they misspelled it. And the Gogol word is about, that is a number, isn't it? Gogol is a number. And we have a next question on that. So I will not give straight its answer. How many zeros are there in one Gogol? The answer is 1000 zeros after 1, isn't it? So Google, the name that has been derived from the original word Gogol, and that is, regarding a number. Gogol is a number wherein we have 1000 zeros after 1. So such a big number, perhaps they have a wish to make their enterprise, really a goal, and the dream has come true. Next and last question is about who did design the Google logo, isn't it? Actually, when we are reading, the introductory paragraph about Sundar Pichai in the book, we don't have these many details, but we need to know certain things about the organization. Who did design the Google logo? It was Sergey Brin. He designed the first, logo of Google. So this way, I attempted to put my experience, my knowledge about Sundar Pichai and his organization Google. So today, when we are talking about Sundar Pichai, we are talking about Google as well, and everything that we have been doing for last more than 1 hour, that is because of the technological advancement by Google. So, dear Google, thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am, and the organizers and students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now let's move forward. Thank you for that wonderful lecture that you had delivered. A formal vote of thanks to conclude this online session. As like the essence of all beautiful art is gratitude, on this note, I would like to extend my thankfulness on behalf of Board of Studies, RTM Nagpur University, to our guest speaker, Dr. Somnath Barure sir, for edifying our students with your view on the life and achievements of Sundar Pichai. Today's lecture seems to be full of stimulation, knowledge, and of course, inspiring too. It gave a deep acumen into the topic and also discovered some of the motivating actualities of this personality of Sundar Pichai. I'm pretty surefire that the life history of this young living legend, Sundar Pichai, explained by you, sir, will certainly help our students. So, thank you so much for understanding the true colors of his life. Further, I would like to extend my thanks to our conveners, organizing committees, organizing secretary, and English department of other host colleges for organizing this online teaching series for the benefit of the students of BA Semester 2, Compulsory English, RTM Nagpur University. Last but not the least, I am thankful to our dear students for their active involvement and shown keen interest to learn in this pandemic situation. With this, I end my gratitude here. Thank you so much. See you all once again tomorrow, same platform, same time, with a new topic, new resource person, and something new and very interesting to learn. Thank you. Goodbye. Good day. Stay safe. Thank you so much.